Meanwhile, in Hogwarts' deepest basement rooms, someone has to sort 1,000 socks, even when the Gryffindor robes have been accidentally charmed to sing opera. Welcome, friend. You've wandered into another quiet corner of the wizarding world. Tonight, we're stepping into the warm steam of the Hogwarts laundry rooms, where washing robes and mending socks becomes a meditation, and where the greatest school of witchcraft and wizardry reveals itself through the most ordinary of tasks. Here, in the gentle rhythm of sorting and folding, you'll discover that even in a castle full of magic, someone still needs to remove stains and match socks, no matter what chaos the students create. The laundry rooms have been in this location for at least 600 years, though they were certainly renovated and improved over that time. The oldest records mention house elves washing clothes for the castle's founders, and those same records describe working in the deep chambers below the kitchens, which matches this location perfectly. Over centuries, successive generations of house elves improved the facilities. The copper cauldrons replaced earlier iron ones around 1650. The stone sinks were installed in 1723, replacing wooden troughs that had finally rotted beyond repair. The drying room was added in 1801, a revolutionary improvement that made year-round laundry work much more efficient. The sorting table dates to 1820. Every generation has contributed something, and you're part of that tradition. Sometimes, when you're alone in the laundry room late at night, you can almost feel the presence of all those house elves who worked here before you. Not as ghosts, house elves don't become ghosts, but as a kind of accumulated presence, the weight of all that dedication and careful work over centuries. It's comforting, knowing you're part of something larger and longer than your individual life. Now get comfortable. Let the quiet hush of the room surround you, and allow the small, steady moments of laundry day at Hogwarts to guide you gently toward rest. You wake before dawn in the house elves' quarters, a cosy warren of small rooms carved into the castle's foundations, where the stone walls retain warmth from the kitchens above, and the air smells perpetually of baking bread and clean linen. Your bed is small but comfortable, with blankets that you've washed and folded yourself countless times, and a pillow stuffed with lavender from the herbology greenhouses that Professor Sprout kindly saves for the house elves who do the castle's laundry. The small wind-up clock on your bedside table shows 4:47 a.m, 3 minutes before your intended waking time, but you're already alert, your mind quietly preparing for the day's work ahead. Being a house elf means waking naturally to the rhythm of service, your internal sense of duty more reliable than any alarm charm. You sit up slowly, your large eyes adjusting to the dimness, and reach for the clean tea towel that serves as your work uniform, freshly laundered yesterday, soft and comfortable against your skin. The tea towel is made of good quality linen, cream-coloured with a subtle pattern of keys embroidered along the hem, the symbol of Hogwarts house elves who serve in the laundry. You've worn this particular towel for 3 years now, and it fits perfectly, the fabric shaped to your small frame through repeated wearing and washing. The keys represent the trust placed in laundry elves. You hold the keys to the clothing cupboards, the linen closets, the supply rooms where cleaning potions and mending spells are stored. You wrap the towel around yourself with practiced movements, securing it with a simple knot at your shoulder. The fabric settles comfortably, allowing full range of motion for the day's work. Lifting, sorting, folding, carrying. Some house elves prefer pillowcases for their more generous cut, but you've always found tea towels more practical for laundry work, where you might need to reach into deep washing cauldrons or climb the tall shelving units where clean linens are stored. The quarters are quiet at this hour. Most of the other house elves won't wake for another 30 minutes. The kitchen staff rises at 5:30 to begin breakfast preparations. The cleaning staff at 6 hour to tidy the common rooms before students wake. But laundry work begins earlier. The washing cauldrons need time to heat, the sorting must be done while the castle sleeps, and the first loads must be underway before breakfast, so that clean uniforms can be ready. when students need them. You pad softly through the sleeping quarters, your bare feet making no sound on the smooth stone floor. The corridors here are lit by small magical lights that glow softly, never quite bright enough to be jarring, never quite dim enough to make navigation difficult. The walls are covered with shelves, where house elves keep their few personal belongings. Small treasures found while cleaning, gifts from kind students, photographs of particularly well-executed table settings, or perfectly folded linen stacks that represent professional pride. Your own shelf holds a small collection, a smooth stone from the Black Lake that you found while washing windows, a broken quill that a Ravenclaw student once used to write a particularly kind thank you note, and a faded photograph of yourself standing next to a mountain of perfectly sorted socks, a personal record of 847 pairs matched in a single shift. These items represent your history at Hogwarts, small markers of years spent in service to the castle and its inhabitants. The corridor leads to a narrow stone staircase that descends even deeper into the castle's foundations. The steps are worn smooth by centuries of house elf feet, each step slightly concave in the centre where countless small beings have walked. You know every step by heart, 37 steps down, with a small landing after the 23rd where you can pause if carrying particularly heavy loads. This morning, carrying nothing but yourself, you descend steadily, one hand trailing along the cool stone wall. At the bottom of the stairs, a heavy wooden door stands closed but not locked. The door is old, its oak planks dark with age and oil, fitted with iron hinges that were forged when the castle was young. A small brass plaque mounted at house elf eye level reads, "Laundry rooms, house elf access only." The restriction isn't enforced by magic but by tradition. Students and staff know that the laundry is house elf territory, and uninvited visitors would be as unwelcome here as house elves would be crashing a staff meeting. You push the door open, and the familiar scent of the laundry rooms envelops you immediately. Clean soap with hints of lavender and rosemary, the slight dampness of constantly circulating steam, the mineral smell of the hot water that flows through ancient pipes, and underneath it all, the particular scent of hundreds of different fabrics, wool and cotton and silk, and the mysterious materials that wizarding robes are woven from. The main laundry chamber is vast, a cathedral-like space with high vaulted ceilings that disappear into darkness above. The room was originally designed as a storage cellar, but generations ago the house elves converted it into the laundry's central workspace. The floor is flagstone, sloped slightly toward drains that carry away excess water. The walls are lined with wooden shelving units that rise 15 feet high, each shelf precisely labelled Gryffindor first years, Ravenclaw bed linens, kitchen tea towels, staff formal robes. 12 large washing cauldrons sit in neat rows down the centre of the room, each one made of copper that has been polished to a soft glow. The cauldrons are 4 feet in diameter and 3 feet deep, mounted on brick foundations with fire chambers underneath. Unlike potion cauldrons, which need precise temperature control, laundry cauldrons are designed to maintain steady, reliable heat for hours at a time. Each cauldron has a wooden paddle for stirring, a set of copper measuring cups for soap and cleaning potions, and a small brass plate identifying its designated use: whites only, colours hot wash, delicates cool water, heavily soiled. Along the far wall, a series of deep sinks stands ready for hand-washing delicate items or treating stubborn stains. The sinks are carved from single pieces of stone, each one large enough that you could sit in it comfortably, with taps that provide both hot and cold water through a plumbing system that predates modern wizarding standards. The water at Hogwarts comes from the lake and underground springs, naturally soft and perfect for laundry work, requiring less soap than harder water would need. The ceiling is crossed with multiple clotheslines where items can be hung to dry, though most drying happens in the drying room, a smaller chamber connected to the main laundry, where Warming charms maintain perfect conditions for evaporating moisture from freshly washed fabrics. Still, the clotheslines serve for items that need air drying or for overflow when the drying room is at capacity. You walk to the supply cupboard first, a large wooden cabinet that contains everything needed for a day's laundry work. The cupboard's double doors open smoothly, revealing shelves stocked with supplies, bars of soap in various formulations for different fabric types, bottles of cleaning potions for removing specific stains, jars of fabric softening powder, containers of bluing solution for keeping whites bright, and vials of special treatments for magical stains. Dragon ash, bubotuber pus, and various potion ingredients that students inevitably spill on themselves. You select your supplies for the morning's first loads: a large bar of all-purpose laundry soap that smells faintly of lemon, a small bottle of stain-removing potion in case of challenging spots, and a jar of fabric softener made from rendered tallow and lavender oil. These items go into a small basket that you'll keep near your primary washing station. Everything in the laundry has its place, and returning items to their proper locations is as important as the washing itself. A chaotic laundry cannot function efficiently. The first task of every morning is lighting the fires beneath the washing cauldrons. You move to the first cauldron, kneeling beside its brick foundation to access the fire chamber. The chamber is clean. You cleaned it yourself 2 days ago, removing ash and making sure the ventilation channels are clear. Inside, kindling and small logs are already arranged, prepared by yesterday's evening shift, so that the morning shift can begin immediately. You produce your wand, a short length of willow, 8 inches, with a core of unicorn hair. House elves' wands are different from wizards' wands, specially made for elvish magic, and designed to channel the particular type of power that house elves possess. Your wand is a tool for your work, authorized by Hogwarts for the performance of necessary household magic. You point it at the kindling and say clearly, "Incendio." The fire catches immediately, flames licking around the kindling and beginning to consume the larger logs. You watch for a moment to ensure it's burning properly, then move to the next cauldron and repeat the process. One by one, you light 6 of the 12 cauldrons, enough for the morning's anticipated loads. The remaining 6 will be lit later if needed, but experience has taught you that 6 cauldrons handle the typical Monday morning washing without waste. As the fires begin to heat the cauldrons, you turn to the most important morning task: sorting the weekend's accumulated laundry. 3 large carts stand near the entrance, each one overflowing with dirty items that were collected yesterday evening from the dormitories, the hospital wing, the staff quarters, and various other locations. Throughout the castle, the items are jumbled together: robes mixed with bed sheets, socks tangled with towels, everything in need of sorting before washing can begin. You pull the first cart to your sorting station, a large wooden table situated near the washing cauldrons, where you have good light and plenty of space to work. The table's surface is smooth from years of use, and its height is perfect for house elf work. You can stand comfortably while sorting without straining to reach. The first item you pull from the cart is a Gryffindor student robe, size medium, with grass stains on the knees and what looks like ink spots on the sleeve. You check the inner collar for the name tag that house elves sew into all student clothing: Finnegan Seamus, 5th year. The robe goes into a basket designated for Gryffindor colours, to be washed hot with stain treatment. Next comes a Hufflepuff scarf, yellow and black stripes with no visible stains but carrying the slightly musty smell of damp wool that hasn't been dried properly. This goes into a separate basket for woolens that require cool water and gentle handling. Then a set of Ravenclaw bed sheets, white with blue trim, marked for the 3rd floor girls' dormitory. These go into the whites basket for hot washing with bleaching charms. The sorting continues, piece by piece, creating order from chaos. You work with the efficiency of long practice, your hands moving quickly while your eyes assess each item. What house? What size? What type of stain? What fabric? Each question leads to a decision. Each decision leads to the right basket. After 3 years of laundry work at Hogwarts, the sorting happens almost automatically. Your mind free to wander, while your hands perform familiar motions. As you sort, you begin to see the weekend story told through stains and damage. Someone's robes smell strongly of smoke, probably sneaking cigarettes behind the greenhouses. A Slytherin tie has lipstick on the collar. Romance or a prank? Impossible to tell. A set of Quidditch robes shows evidence of a hard-fought match, with grass stains, mud, and what might be blood from a minor injury. Each item carries information about its wearer's activities, secrets written in the language of laundry. The cauldrons are beginning to steam now, the water inside heating as the fires do their work. You pause in your sorting to check the water temperature in the first cauldron, designated for white cottons. You tap the rim with your wand and whisper, "Tempus revelo," and a small number appears in steam above the surface, 80 sucre de grazie, perfect temperature for hot washing. The spell fades and you move to the next cauldron, checking each one to ensure they're heating evenly and properly. The morning routine is well underway now. The fires crackle beneath the cauldrons, the water steams gently, the sorted baskets fill steadily as you work through the first cart of laundry. This is your work, your purpose, your contribution to Hogwarts' daily functioning. While the castle sleeps above you, you labour in the warm depths, preparing to keep hundreds of students and staff clean and properly dressed for another week of magical education. There's a deep satisfaction in this work, a contentment that comes from doing something necessary and doing it well. The laundry may not be glamorous, but it's essential. Every clean robe represents comfort for a student. Every matched sock represents order in a chaotic world. Every carefully folded sheet represents the foundation of good rest that makes learning possible. You return to your sorting, hands moving steadily through the pile, creating order one piece at a time. The day has truly begun. By 5:15 a.m. you've sorted through the first cart completely, creating 12 distinct piles of laundry, each one representing a specific washing category. The piles sit in their designated baskets like colourful mountains, Gryffindor reds and golds, Ravenclaw blues and bronzes, Hufflepuff yellows and blacks, Slytherin greens and silvers, as well as the neutral whites and darks that make up the castle's linens and the staff's personal clothing. The cauldrons are fully heated now, their water at perfect washing temperatures. Steam rises in gentle columns, creating a slight haze in the upper regions of the laundry room that catches the light from the magical lanterns and glows softly. The temperature in the room has increased noticeably. Laundry work is warm work, especially in autumn and winter, when the contrast with the castle's cold stone corridors is most pronounced. You begin with the whites, as is traditional. White fabrics show stains most clearly and benefit from the hottest water and strongest cleaning magic. You levitate the first basket of white items to the edge of the cauldron, designated whites only. Then begin loading items individually. House elves could simply dump the basket's contents into the cauldron, but careful loading ensures even washing and prevents tangling. First into the cauldron, a set of kitchen tea towels, bleached white from repeated washing, used by the cooking staff for drying dishes and covering rising bread. These are your colleagues' work cloths, and you handle them with particular care. Next, several sets of white bed sheets from the hospital wing, where Madame Pomfrey insists on having the whitest, cleanest linens possible for her patients. Then white undergarments belonging to various students, items marked with name tags, but requiring no sorting by house since they're all the same colour. You continue loading until the cauldron is full, but not packed. Laundry needs room to move in the water, to agitate and release its dirt. The water level rises as you add items, displaced by fabric volume. When the cauldron reaches optimal capacity, you set the basket aside and reach for your soap. The white soap is harsh stuff, designed to clean thoroughly and bleach slightly. You take a measuring cup, copper, with measurement marks etched into its side, and scoop soap flakes from the large bar, scraping the knife along the soap's surface to create thin curls that will dissolve quickly in hot water. The measurement for a full cauldron is 3 cups of soap flakes, a ratio determined by generations of house elf launderers through trial and error. You add the soap flakes to the cauldron, watching them swirl on the water's surface before beginning to dissolve, creating small patches of suds. Then you take the long wooden paddle, smooth from years of use, worn to a comfortable grip, and begin stirring. The motion is clockwise, always clockwise for washing. 3 complete rotations to distribute the soap evenly and begin the agitation that will loosen dirt from fabric. As you stir, you speak the cleaning charm that enhances ordinary soap's effectiveness. Scourgify mundus. The spell is specifically for laundry, not the general cleaning charm that wizards use, but a specialised variation that house elves have perfected over centuries. The water glows faintly blue for a moment as the magic takes effect, then settles back to its normal appearance, though now it's working at both mundane and magical levels to clean the clothes within. The washing time for whites is 45 minutes, long enough for thorough cleaning, short enough that fabrics don't break down from excessive heat and agitation. You note the time on a small chalkboard mounted near the cauldrons. Whites started 5:18, finish 6:03. Keeping track of timing is essential when managing multiple loads simultaneously. While the first load washes, you move to the second cauldron and begin the process again, this time with Gryffindor colours. The red and gold fabrics can withstand hot water, though not as hot as whitey's, and they require different soap, one that won't fade the dyes that give the robes their distinctive house colours. You load the cauldron with Gryffindor robes, scarves and house ties, each item checked once more for serious stains that might need pre-treatment. One robe catches your attention, grass stains on both knees and elbows, suggesting someone who spent considerable time on the Quidditch pitch or perhaps fell during herbology class. Grass stains are among the more challenging stains to remove from fabric, the chlorophyll binding to fibres in ways that resist simple soap and water. You set this robe aside for special treatment. At the stone sink, you run cool water. Hot water sets grass stains rather than removing them, and add a small amount of specialised potion from a green labelled bottle. Herbaceous stain remover for plant-based marks. The potion smells strongly of vinegar and mint, an odd combination, but effective. You lay the robe in the sink, letting the stained areas soak in the treatment solution, while gently rubbing the fabric against itself to work the potion into the fibres. After 5 minutes of soaking and gentle agitation, the grass stains have faded considerably, though not disappeared entirely. That's normal. Completely removing grass stains often requires multiple washings, but the robe is improved enough to go into the general washing cauldron where the hot water and soap will continue the cleaning process. You add it to the Gryffindor load and proceed with the standard washing procedure. Measure soap, add to cauldron, stir clockwise 3 times, speak the cleaning charm, note the time. The morning is developing its rhythm now. 2 cauldrons washing, their contents agitating gently in the hot soapy water. You move through the laundry room with practiced efficiency, checking water temperatures, adding more wood to fires that are burning low, beginning to sort through the second cart of dirty laundry while the first loads wash. The second cart contains weekends' worth of bed linens, sheets, pillowcases, blankets, coverlets. Every bed in the castle is changed once a week, usually on Saturday, and the used linens are collected by house elves in the evening, bundled by dormitory and brought to the laundry. The quantity is substantial, over 200 beds worth of sheets and pillowcases, plus additional linens from the hospital wing, the staff quarters, and the guest rooms that are occasionally used by visiting wizards. You sort the linens by colour and house, creating new piles that will become future loads. Gryffindor beds use sheets with subtle red trim, Ravenclaw with blue, Hufflepuff with yellow, Slytherin with green. The system helps house elves return the correct linens to the correct dormitories after washing. While all sheets might look similar when clean, the colour coding prevents mix-ups. As you sort, you inspect each piece for damage. Tears, worn spots, stains that might require special treatment. A Hufflepuff sheet has a small rip along the seam. You set it aside for mending later. A Ravenclaw pillowcase shows evidence of a nosebleed. You set it aside for soaking in cold water and salt before washing, as hot water will set bloodstains permanently. This inspection is part of quality control, ensuring that items needing repair or special treatment don't get lost in the general washing routine. The stone floor is slightly damp from the humidity created by the steaming cauldrons, and you work carefully to avoid slipping. House elves are naturally sure-footed, but caution is always wise when working in wet conditions around hot water and open flames. Your bare feet grip the stone well, toes spreading for balance, and you move with the careful grace that comes from years of working in this space. A glance at the chalkboard shows that the first cauldron, the whites, has 15 minutes remaining in its wash cycle. You prepare for the next phase of the process by rolling the first rinsing tub into position near the washing cauldrons. The rinsing tubs are smaller than the washing cauldrons, designed for the rinsing phase that follows washing. They're mounted on wheels so they can be positioned as needed, then rolled to the wringing station after rinsing is complete. The rhythm of laundry work is satisfying. Sort, load, wash, rinse, wring, dry, fold, return. Each phase requires attention and skill, but together they create a process that transforms dirty laundry into clean clothes with reliable consistency. This is your craft, your area of expertise, and you take pride in executing each step correctly. Time passes in comfortable industry. The cauldrons bubble gently, the fires crackle, your hands move through the sorting with practiced efficiency. Above you, the castle is beginning to wake. You can sense it, the way house elves can always sense the rhythms of the households they serve. In the kitchens above, your colleagues are preparing breakfast. In the dormitories, students are beginning to stir. In the staff quarters, professors are performing their morning routines. And here in the laundry, you're ensuring that everyone will have clean clothes to wear, a basic comfort that makes everything else possible. The work continues, steady and purposeful. As you continue sorting through the morning's loads, your hands encounter the full range of fabrics that make up Hogwarts' textile collection. Understanding fabrics, their composition, properties and care requirements is essential to excellent laundry work. Different fibres behave differently in water, respond differently to soap and agitation, require different drying methods. Cotton is straightforward, strong, durable, tolerant of hot water and vigorous washing. Most student robes contain significant cotton content, chosen for these practical qualities. Cotton can be bleached when necessary, scrubbed hard to remove stains, dried at high temperature without damage. It's the workhorse fibre of the laundry, the fabric you're most happy to see. Wool is temperamental, beautiful, warm, excellent at insulating, but requiring careful handling. Hot water shrinks wool. Agitation felts it into solid mass. Harsh soap damages the fibres. Wool items must be washed in cool water with gentle soap, handled minimally during washing, and dried flat rather than hung. Scarves, sweaters, and winter accessories challenge you because they require so much individual attention. Silk is delicate, lustrous, smooth, expensive, and easily damaged. Silk must be washed in cool water with specialized gentle soap, never agitated vigorously, never wrung forcefully. Some silk items require hand washing rather than cauldron washing. Drying must be slow and careful. Too much heat damages the protein fibres. Fortunately, students don't have much silk in their wardrobes, but staff members often have silk items that require expert handling. Linen is old-fashioned but excellent, strong, cool, becoming softer with washing. Kitchen towels are often linen because the fabric tolerates repeated hot washing without weakening. Your own tea towel uniform is linen. The fabric improves with use, each washing, making it more supple and comfortable. Linen wrinkles easily, but that's considered part of its charm. Those wrinkles prove its natural fibre rather than synthetic. Then there are magical fabrics, materials that don't exist in the mundane world. Acromantula silk, rare and expensive, sometimes used in formal robes, requires special care because it retains magical properties even after weaving. Thestral hair, occasionally woven into winter cloaks, needs gentle handling to preserve its properties. Bowtruckle fibre, used in some specialty textiles, requires treatment with wood-based oils during washing. Each magical fabric has its own requirements, and you've learned them through experience and research. Mixed fabrics, blends of multiple fibres, require judgment calls. A robe that's 60% cotton and 40% wool needs washing temperature and agitation somewhere between pure cotton and pure wool requirements. Too hot damages the wool. Too cool doesn't clean the cotton adequately. You've developed instinct for these decisions, feeling fabric to assess composition, making educated guesses about the best treatment approach. The chalkboard indicates that the whites have completed their wash cycle. You set aside your sorting work and move to the washing cauldron, wooden paddle in hand. The water has turned decidedly grey, evidence of dirt and soil removed from the fabrics. Small suds still float on the surface, but the vigorous bubbling of the early wash has subsided as the soap has been exhausted in its cleaning work. Using the paddle, you stir the contents one final time, ensuring that any remaining soap is distributed evenly and that items haven't settled into tangled clumps at the bottom of the cauldron. The fabric feels different when stirred after washing, heavier with absorbed water, but also cleaner. The texture somehow smoother than when the items went into the wash. Now comes the transfer to the rinsing tub. You could use magic to levitate all the items at once, but wet fabric is heavy and unwieldy when levitated, often dripping everywhere and occasionally dropping items mid-transfer. Instead, you use a large wooden fork, more of a pole with wooden tines, to lift items individually from the washing cauldron and transfer them to the rinsing tub positioned beside it. The first item up is a kitchen tea towel, steaming and dripping. You shake it gently over the cauldron to remove excess water, then lay it in the rinsing tub. Next comes a white sheet, requiring more careful handling because of its size. You gather it with the fork, lift it clear of the water, let it drain for a moment, then transfer it. The process continues until all items have been moved from the washing cauldron to the rinsing tub. Rinsing is often underestimated in laundry work. Amateurs think washing is the important part, and rinsing is just a quick afterthought. But any experienced laundry worker knows improper rinsing ruins clothes more certainly than inadequate. Washing, soap residue left in fabric makes it stiff, irritates skin, attracts dirt and breaks down fibres over time. A garment that's been washed well but rinsed poorly will become unwearable within a dozen cleanings. A garment rinsed properly will last for years. The 2-rinse method you use is standard, but some items require 3 rinses. Anything that touches sensitive skin, anything worn by someone with allergies, anything made of particularly absorbent fabric. You make these judgments constantly, adjusting your technique to the item's needs. This flexibility, this ability to think and adapt rather than just following rigid procedures, is what makes house elf laundry work superior to magical alternatives that could theoretically clean clothes but lack judgment. The washing cauldron now contains only dirty wash water, grey and slightly scummy, with dissolved soap and dirt. You take a large copper ladle and begin bailing the water out, pouring it into a nearby drain that carries it away to the castle's waste system. The water is still hot, and steam rises from each ladleful. Bailing takes several minutes. The cauldron holds many gallons, but it's necessary to empty it completely before starting the next load. While you bail, you monitor the rinsing tub, which you filled with clean, cool water from one of the large taps. Rinsing requires no soap, no magic, just clean water to remove the soap residue from the fabric. You use a smaller paddle to agitate the items in the rinse water, stirring them gently to work fresh water through the fibres. The water quickly becomes cloudy with dissolved soap, confirming that rinsing is necessary. Leaving soap in fabric makes it stiff and uncomfortable to wear. After 5 minutes of rinsing, you bail out the rinse water and refill the tub with fresh water for a second rinse. 2 rinses are standard for most items, 3 for whites or anything that touched sensitive skin. The second rinse water stays clearer, indicating that most of the soap has been removed. You agitate briefly, then bail again. Now comes wringing, the process of removing excess water so items can be dried efficiently. The laundry room has 2 wringing stations, large wooden frames that hold mechanical wringers, devices with 2 rollers set close together. Wet fabric is fed between the rollers, which press it flat and squeeze out water as the rollers turn. It's simple technology, but effective, requiring no magic and producing consistent results. You wheel the rinsing tub to the first wringing station, positioning it so you can easily reach items and feed them through the wringer. The wringer is operated by a hand crank, which you turn steadily while feeding fabric between the rollers. The first tea towel goes through with a satisfying squeezing sound, water pouring from the rollers into the catch basin below. The towel emerges flattened and much lighter, most of its absorbed water removed. Sheets require more careful handling during wringing because of their size. You fold a sheet lengthwise before feeding it through the wringer, ensuring it doesn't tangle or bunch. The rollers squeeze efficiently, water streaming out. You catch the wringed sheet in a large basket positioned on the other side of the wringer, where it awaits transport to the drying room. The wringing process is rhythmic and somewhat meditative. Turn the crank, feed the fabric, turn the crank, catch the item, repeat. Your arms develop a steady rhythm, and the time passes in focused work. The catch basin fills with expelled water and must be emptied periodically into the drain, a simple but necessary task that keeps the wringing station functional. By 6:15 a.m, the first load is completely wringed and ready for drying. The basket of clean, damp whites sits ready for transport. Before moving on to drying, though, you need to check the other washing cauldrons. The Gryffindor colours should be finished soon, and the third cauldron, Ravenclaw items, is ready to be started. You move through the laundry room with the organised efficiency that prevents chaos in busy times. Check the chalkboard, confirm timing, begin the rinse process for the Gryffindor load while starting the Ravenclaw load washing. Fill the cleaned out whites cauldron with fresh water and begin loading the next batch, this time bed linens from the Slytherin dormitories. Multiple loads at different stages of processing require mental tracking and physical organisation. You keep notes on the chalkboard, which cauldrons contain what loads, when each load started, when each needs attention. This system prevents confusion and ensures nothing gets overwashed or forgotten. The Gryffindor items come out of their cauldron and go through the same rinse and wring process. The coloured items require slightly more careful wringing. Too much pressure can damage dyed fabrics, so you adjust the wringer's tension slightly, loosening the rollers just enough to be gentler while still removing adequate water. Among the Gryffindor items, you recognise several pieces from regular customers, students whose laundry you've handled for years now, whose growth you've tracked through sizing changes in their uniforms. There's something quietly satisfying about this continuity, about being part of these students' daily lives in this small invisible way. You don't know them personally, would likely not recognise them if you passed in a corridor, but you know their laundry intimately. Who's careful with their clothes, who's rough, who plays Quidditch, who spends time in the greenhouse. The morning continues its steady progression through loads and stages. By 7 a.m, 4 loads are in various stages of processing. One washing, one rinsing, one wringing, and one ready for the drying room. This is good productivity, indicating the day will proceed smoothly if this pace continues. You take a brief moment to sip water from a cup kept on a shelf near the sorting table. Laundry. Work is hot work, and staying hydrated is important. The water is cool and clean, drawn from the same source as the washing water. After a few swallows, you return the cup and get back to work. The laundry waits for no one, and efficiency requires maintaining momentum. The basket of clean, ringed whites needs to be dried before it can be folded and returned to storage. You wheel the basket across the laundry room to a heavy wooden door set in the far wall, marked with a small brass plaque reading "Drying Room." The door is always slightly warm to the touch, and opening it releases a wave of heated air that carries the pleasant scent of clean, warm fabric. The drying room is smaller than the main laundry chamber, perhaps 20 feet square, with a ceiling that's lower but still comfortably high. The walls are lined with wooden racks, horizontal poles at various heights, where wet items can be hung or draped to dry. The room is kept at a constant warm temperature by a complex series of warming charms, layered into the walls themselves, magic cast decades ago, and maintained regularly to ensure consistent heat without open flames. The air in the drying room is dry despite the moisture being constantly released from wet fabrics. Ventilation shafts near the ceiling draw away the humid air and replace it with fresh, warm air from somewhere deep in the castle's heating system. The result is perfect drying conditions, warm, dry, circulating air that evaporates moisture from fabric quickly without exposing items to the harsh effects of direct fire or excessive heat. You begin hanging the whites on the drying racks. Tea towels go on lower racks, hung by their corners to prevent wrinkles. Sheets require more space, draped over higher racks, where their length won't touch the floor. Undergarments go on a dedicated rack, sorted by size and owner. House elves maintain strict organisation, even in drying, ensuring items don't get mixed up or lost. Each item is hung with care, smoothed with your hands to prevent wrinkles and positioned to allow air circulation on all sides. Proper hanging is the difference between clothes that come out smooth and ready to fold versus clothes that emerge wrinkled and require additional pressing. Time spent in careful hanging saves time later. The drying room already contains items from yesterday's late loads, hung by the evening shift and now dry and ready to be removed. You check these items, touching them to confirm they're completely dry, no damp spots remaining, then begin removing them from their racks and placing them in baskets for folding. This cycle continues constantly. Hang wet items, remove dry items, fold and return the dry items, make space for the next batch. The dry items from yesterday are a mixed lot. Some Hufflepuff robes, several sets of staff clothing, kitchen linens, and what appears to be a large quantity of Quidditch practice jerseys. Everything is warm to the touch. Having spent the night in the drying room's gentle heat, you wheel the basket of dry items back to the main laundry room, where you'll fold them at the sorting table while monitoring the continuing washing cycles. Folding is perhaps the most satisfying phase of laundry work. This is where chaos becomes order, where formless piles transform into neat stacks ready for return to their owners. You begin with the tea towels, simplest to fold, requiring just 3 folds to create a rectangle that fits perfectly in the kitchen linen cupboard. Your hands know the folds automatically, bottom third up, top third down, then fold in half lengthwise. The result is a neat package that stacks well and unfolds easily when needed. The Hufflepuff robes require more complex folding. House robes are ceremonial items, worn for formal occasions and meals, and they must be folded carefully to preserve their shape and appearance. You lay the first robe face down on the folding table, smooth it flat, then fold the sleeves across the back. The bottom hem comes up to meet the shoulder seam, creating a half fold. Then another fold brings the hem to the collar. The result is a compact rectangle with the Hufflepuff badge prominently displayed, ready to be placed in the storage cupboard. Each type of item has its own folding method, perfected over generations of house elf launderers. Sheets are folded in quarters, then rolled for compact storage. Pillowcases are folded in thirds and then in half. Socks are matched in pairs, a task that requires attention and memory, as finding matching socks among hundreds of similar items is genuinely challenging. Then folded together with one sock's opening rolled over both to keep them paired. As you fold, you notice details that tell stories. A Quidditch jersey has a small repair in the shoulder, where you mended a tear last month. Holding nicely, your stitching still secure. A set of sheets shows subtle fading, indicating they've been in service for many years and may need replacing soon. A staff robe has a button that's loose, wobbling in its thread. You make a mental note to re-sew it before returning the robe to its owner. The sorting table gradually fills with neat stacks of folded laundry, organised by house, by type, by owner, when items are individually owned. The transformation from the chaotic pile to organised stacks is deeply satisfying. Visual proof of work well done. Each stack represents order imposed on disorder, cleanliness achieved, service rendered. While you fold, you can hear the ongoing activity in the main laundry room. The gentle bubbling of washing cauldrons, the occasional hiss of steam, the quiet drip of water from wet items. These sounds create a peaceful background, confirming that the work continues even when you're focused on this particular task. Laundry is never a single task, but a series of overlapping processes, each one requiring attention at different times. The Quidditch jerseys are next, a full team's worth of practice. Jerseys red with gold trim, grass stained despite washing. Quidditch jerseys never fully lose their grass stains. The combination of sweat, grass and magical exertion creates marks that resist even the strongest cleaning magic. But they're cleaner than they were, and that's what matters. Players don't expect pristine jerseys. They expect jerseys that are clean enough and dry and ready for the next practice. You fold each jersey with the number facing outward. Easier for players to identify their own, and stack them in numerical order. The Quidditch team manager will collect them later this afternoon for tomorrow's practice. This is one of many routine deliveries that happen throughout the day. House elves bringing clean items to designated collection points where humans retrieve them without ever seeing the elves who did the work. By 7:45 a.m, the folding of yesterday's dry items is complete. Multiple neat stacks sit ready for transport to their destinations. A basket for Gryffindor dormitory, one for Hufflepuff, one for the kitchens, one for the staff quarters, and a special basket for the hospital wing, where Madame Pomfrey is particular about her linens being delivered promptly and properly folded. You wheel the first basket, the hospital wing items, to a service trolley near the laundry room door. The trolley is charmed to transport itself to designated locations on command, a useful bit of magic that saves house elves countless trips up and down the castle's many stairs. You speak the command word, infirmatorium, and the trolley sets off on its own, wheels turning smoothly as it navigates the corridor toward the hospital wing. The morning routine continues, the cycle of washing and drying and folding proceeding with steady rhythm. More loads go into cauldrons, more loads come out to rinse and wring and dry. Your hands stay busy, your mind engaged with the details of the work, and the hours pass in productive industry. As you measure out soap for another load, you reflect on the fascinating substance that makes all laundry work possible. Soap is fundamental to laundry work, yet most people never think about its chemistry and magic. Understanding soap, really understanding it, transforms adequate laundering into excellent laundering. Traditional soap is made from fat and lye through a process called saponification. The fat can be animal tallow, vegetable oil, or a combination. The lye is a strong alkali, traditionally made from wood ash, though modern lye is more refined. When fat and lye react at proper temperature and ratio, they create soap. molecules that have one end attracted to water and another end attracted to oil and grease. This dual nature is what makes soap clean. The oil-loving end attaches to grease and dirt on fabric, while the water-loving end remains oriented toward the water. When you agitate the wash water, soap molecules surround dirt particles, pulling them away from fabric and holding them suspended in water. Rinsing carries away the soap-encapsulated dirt, leaving clean fabric behind. But magical soap is more complex. The soap bars you use in the Hogwarts laundry contain not just traditional, saponified fat, but also powdered ingredients that enhance cleaning through magical means. Crushed moonstone adds gentle abrasion for stubborn stains. Powdered pearl adds luster and softness. Essence of dittany provides healing properties that repair minor fabric damage during washing. And various magical herbs, some secret recipes passed down through generations, boost cleaning power beyond what mundane soap can achieve. Different soaps serve different purposes. The all-purpose soap is balanced for general use, strong enough to clean effectively, gentle enough not to damage common fabrics, affordable enough to use daily. The delicate soap sacrifices cleaning power for gentleness, protecting fragile fibres while still removing light soil. The heavy-duty soap is aggressive, containing pumice and stronger magical ingredients, designed for items so dirty that fabric damage is preferable to leaving them soiled. You've experimented with soap formulations over the years, tweaking ratios, adding ingredients, testing results. Once you added too much pumice to a batch of heavy-duty soap, and it abraded fabric rather than just cleaning it, a valuable lesson about balance. Another time, you tried adding powdered moonstone to delicate soap and discovered it actually improved the results without damaging fragile fabrics. These experiments have made you better at your work, deepening your understanding of the chemistry and magic involved. The soap making happens elsewhere. Specialised house elves in another part of the castle produce soap for all of Hogwarts' cleaning needs. But you've visited their workshop, learned their basic processes, understand how soap develops, from raw ingredients to finished bars. This knowledge helps you use soap more effectively, adjusting quantities based on water hardness, soil level, fabric type, and dozens of other variables that affect washing results. By 9:08 AM, you've worked through a significant portion of the weekend's accumulated laundry. The washing cauldrons are all occupied, running efficiently through their cycles. The drying room is full of hanging items at various stages of drying. And before you, on the sorting table, sits the task that every laundry worker both dreads and finds oddly compelling: the sock basket. The sock basket is legendary among Hogwarts house elves. It's a large wicker basket, 3 feet in diameter and 2 feet deep, that accumulates every sock washed during the week. Unlike other clothing items that are sorted and processed by house and owner, socks are simply thrown into the basket after washing and drying, creating a massive pile of mismatched footwear that must be sorted periodically into pairs. Today's basket is particularly full. The weekend Quidditch matches and various outdoor activities meant students went through more socks than usual. You estimate there are at least 400 individual socks in the basket, representing perhaps 200 pairs, assuming all matches can be found. The assumption is optimistic. There are always orphan socks, solitary survivors whose partners have been lost to that mysterious sock dimension that claims one sock from random pairs. You settle onto a small stool beside the basket and begin the sorting process. The technique is methodical. Remove a sock, identify its characteristics, colour, size, house affiliation, pattern if any, search through the basket for its match, set the pair aside, or return the orphan to the basket to continue searching. It's tedious work, requiring attention to detail and a good memory for what you've seen in the basket. The first sock is black, standard school sock issued to all students, size medium. You dig through the basket, feeling each sock, looking for its twin. After a minute of searching, you find a match, Same colour, same size, same slight thinning at the heel. You match them together, fold one sock's opening over both, and set the pair in the completed pile. The second sock is a Gryffindor sock, red with gold bands at the top, size large. These house socks are easier to sort because there are fewer of them. Most students wear the standard black socks, saving house colours for special occasions. The match appears quickly, and another pair joins the completed pile. Sock 3 is unusual, bright purple with orange stripes, clearly a personal item rather than school-issued. The name tag sewn into the top band reads, Lovegood, Luna, 4th year. Luna Lovegood is known to the laundry staff as someone with distinctive tastes in socks. Her match takes longer to find, buried deep in the basket, but eventually you locate it and complete the pair. As you sort, you notice that certain students have recognisable sock patterns. Some students go through socks quickly, replacing them frequently, so their socks are always in good condition, with minimal wear. Other students wear the same socks until they're nearly falling apart, with darned heels and thin spots at the toes. Some students lose socks regularly. You recognise names that appear on orphan socks week after week. Other students never lose a sock. Their pair's always complete and accounted for. There's something almost meditative about sock sorting. The repetition, the focus required, the satisfaction of finding matches. It creates a mental state somewhere between concentration and relaxation. Many house elves report that sock sorting is when they do their best thinking about non-sock related problems. Your mind can wander to yesterday's conversations, tomorrow's plans, ongoing projects, while your hands continue the familiar work of searching, matching, pairing. Some philosophers, yes, house elves have philosophers, though their works are rarely read by wizards, have written about sock sorting as a metaphor for life. The search for matches represents the search for meaning and connection. The orphan socks represent loss and incompleteness. The satisfaction of finding a pair after long searching represents hope and persistence. Whether you accept these deeper interpretations or not, there's no denying that sock sorting teaches patience, attention to detail, and the acceptance that not everything can be matched or made perfect. The sorting continues for nearly an hour. Your hands move through the basket in a rhythmic search pattern, pulling socks, examining them, finding matches or returning them for later. The completed pile grows steadily. 20 pairs, 40 pairs, 60 pairs. The basket's contents diminish, though not as quickly as you'd like. Socks seem to multiply through some magic you've never quite understood. Among the socks you find items that need repair. Several pairs have small holes beginning in the heels or toes, wear points where fabric thins and eventually breaks. You set these aside in a separate, mending pile. House elves are expected to maintain clothing, not just wash it, and that includes basic repairs like darning socks, sewing buttons, and fixing torn seams. Another sock catches your attention, a Slytherin sock with what looks like a deliberately cut hole, sabotage by a rival house member, an accident with scissors. Impossible to know, but the damage is too regular to be normal wear. You set it in the mending pile with a note attached. Slytherin sock, deliberate damage, check for pattern. The orphan socks, socks with no apparent match, accumulate in a separate section of the basket. By the end of sorting, you have 23 orphan socks, ranging from standard black school socks to distinctive personal items. These will be held for 2 weeks, giving lost matches time to appear in subsequent laundry loads. After 2 weeks, orphan socks are donated to the rag pile for use as cleaning cloths. No point keeping them indefinitely when their partners are clearly lost to the sock dimension. With the sock sorting complete, you move on to the mending pile. The first pair needs heel darning, a skill that house elves learn early in their training. You fetch a darning egg from the supply cupboard, a smooth wooden egg-shaped tool that fits inside the sock and provides a firm surface for darning. A needle threaded with black thread completes your tools. You slip the darning egg inside the sock, positioning the hole over the egg's curve. The darning technique is simple, but requires patience. Make parallel rows of stitching across the hole, first in one direction, then perpendicular to create a woven patch that closes the hole and reinforces the thinned fabric. Your needle moves steadily, creating neat rows of stitching. After 10 minutes, the hole is repaired, the darn nearly invisible unless you know where to look. The second pair needs similar repair, and the third. Darning is repetitive work, but it's also satisfying, taking something broken and making it whole again, extending the useful life of an item, practicing a traditional skill that many in the wizarding world have forgotten in favour of simply buying new socks. House elves maintain the old ways, the careful ways, the ways that waste nothing and value thorough work. By 10:30 a.m, all the socks are sorted, paired and repaired. The completed pile is impressive, nearly 200 pairs of clean, matched, ready-to-wear socks. These will be sorted by house and returned to the dormitories in designated sock drawers that house elves maintain. Each student has a cubby in their dormitory's sock storage, and house elves ensure that clean socks appear there regularly without students ever needing to think about the process. You load the sorted socks into 4 baskets, 1 per house, and prepare them for transport. But before sending them up to the dormitories, there's one more task, marking this week's sock statistics in the laundry logbook. The logbook is a leather-bound journal where house elves record various metrics about laundry operations. Quantities washed, items repaired, supplies used, and yes, sock statistics. Today's entry reads, Monday, October 17th, socks sorted, 423 individual, 200 pairs completed, 23 orphans held. Repairs completed, 6 pairs darned. Notable, increase in Quidditch sock processing due to weekend matches. Orphan rate, 5.4% acceptable. L. Lovegood continues distinctive sock choices. Record keeping might seem excessive for something as mundane as laundry, but the statistics serve multiple purposes. They track supply usage so materials can be reordered before running out. They identify patterns that might indicate problems. If orphan rates suddenly spike, it might suggest theft or a problem with the collection system. And honestly, they provide house elves with a sense of accomplishment, quantified evidence of work performed, and standards maintained. With the socks complete and logged, you return to the washing cauldrons, where the next batch of loads requires attention. The cycle continues, endless and necessary. At 11:45 a.m, the laundry work pauses briefly for what house elves call the lunch hour, though it's not really a full hour, and doesn't always involve eating lunch. What it does involve is the delivery of kitchen linens and the collection of lunch service items that will need washing afterward. This daily interaction with the kitchen staff is one of the social highlights of laundry work, a chance to see colleagues and exchange brief conversations. You load a wheeled cart with the morning's cleaned and folded kitchen linens, tea towels, dishcloths, aprons and table linens used in the Great Hall. The kitchen goes through vast quantities of linens, and the laundry's ability to provide a constant supply of clean items is essential to Hogwarts food service operations. Without clean tea towels, how would dishes be dried? Without clean table linens, how would the Great Hall maintain its impressive appearance? The route from the laundry to the kitchens is familiar, a service corridor that runs behind the main halls, designed for house elf traffic and hidden from student view by portrait doors and tapestries. The corridor is narrow but well lit by magical torches, with smooth stone floors that make wheeling carts easy. Other house elves use this corridor throughout the day, passing with their own carts and burdens, and you exchange quiet greetings as you pass. Good morning, Mimsy. Hello, Tibby. Busy day, Wigby. The kitchen entrance is a large wooden door that swings open at a push, releasing the glorious smell of cooking lunch. Roasted chicken, fresh bread, vegetable soup, and the distinctive sweet scent of treacle tart being prepared for dessert. The kitchen is enormous, with multiple cooking stations, huge preparation tables, and a cooking staff of at least 15 house elves, all working in coordinated chaos. The head of kitchen staff is Dibby, an older house elf, with ears that have begun to droop slightly with age. He's been at Hogwarts longer than anyone can remember, and he runs the kitchen with firm but fair management. He looks up from supervising a soup pot as you enter and waves you over to the linen station. "Tibby!" Perfect timing. We're nearly out of tea towels. Dibby's voice carries the slight wheeze of a house elf who spent decades in hot kitchens. "And the table linens for tonight's dinner? We're hosting visiting delegations from the ministry, so we need the fancy ones. The white damask with the Hogwarts crest embroidered." "I've brought the everyday linens," you confirm, beginning to unload your cart. "The fancy damask will take special handling. Should I collect them now for afternoon washing? They'll be ready by 4 p.m. Yes, that would be perfect." Dibby directs another house elf to fetch the fancy linens from the formal storage. "And Tibby, between you and me," he lowers his voice conspiratorially, "I heard the most interesting thing this morning while serving breakfast. 2 sixth-year girls, Gryffindor and Hufflepuff, were discussing a plan to sneak into the Forbidden Forest after dinner tonight. Something about a bet involving collecting fairy wings." You shake your head sympathetically. "Students and their dangerous ideas. Should we tell the headmaster?" "Already sent word to Professor McGonagall through proper channels. She'll handle it." Dibby pats your arm appreciatively. "But keep your ears open in the laundry. Students often discuss their schemes where they think no one's listening. If you hear anything else worrying, let me know." This casual intelligence network among house elves is one of their unspoken services to Hogwarts. House elves are everywhere and nowhere, invisible to students who barely notice their presence. As a result, students talk freely in front of house elves, not realizing that their conversations are heard and, when necessary, reported to appropriate authorities. It's not spying, it's caring for students by helping keep them safe from their own poor decisions. The fancy linens arrive, carried by 3 house elves working together. The damask tablecloths are heavy and beautifully embroidered, clearly expensive items that predate most current students' grandparents. You inspect them carefully. No stains visible, but they smell slightly of storage and could use freshening. "These will be perfect for tonight. I'll have them washed, pressed, and back by 4 p.m. "You're a treasure, Tibby." Dibby returns to his soup, stirring the huge pot with a ladle almost as large as he is. "Don't forget to eat something yourself. You laundry elves work so hard you forget to eat." He's not wrong. Laundry work is so consuming that meals often get skipped or reduced to quick bites between tasks. But Dibby's reminder is kind, and you accept a fresh roll and a small bowl of soup, eating quickly at one of the kitchen's small side tables, where house elves take their own meals between service duties. The soup is excellent, vegetable and barley, with a rich broth that tastes of long, slow cooking. The roll is warm and crusty, perfect for sopping up the soup. You eat methodically, refueling your body for the afternoon's work ahead. Around you, the kitchen continues its organised chaos. Pots bubbling, elves chopping vegetables, someone arguing about proper treacle tart consistency, bread being pulled from ovens in perfect golden brown loaves. After 10 minutes, you finish eating, thank Dibby for the meal, load the fancy linens onto your cart, and head back to the laundry. The lunch hour has been productive. Clean linens delivered, dirty linens collected, useful information shared, and a proper meal eaten. This regular interaction with other house elves reminds you that laundry work, while often solitary, is part of a larger team effort to keep Hogwarts functioning. Back in the laundry room, you immediately begin preparing to wash the fancy damask linens. These require special handling, cool water instead of hot, gentle soap specifically formulated for delicate fabrics, and no harsh agitation that might damage the intricate embroidery. You fill one of the smaller cauldrons with cool water, add the special soap, and carefully lower the first tablecloth into the water. The washing process for fancy linens is more meditation than work. You must stir very gently, just enough to circulate the water and soap without stressing the fabric. No cleaning charms. The magic can interfere with the embroidery's own enchantments that make the Hogwarts crest shimmer slightly in candlelight. Just patient, careful washing with good soap and clean water. While the fancy linens soak gently, you return to the regular washing operations. Multiple cauldrons are processing everyday loads, and the afternoon's work continues its steady rhythm. The afternoon brings a cart of items collected from various locations around. The castle, the hospital wing, the staff quarters, items left by students in common rooms. These miscellaneous collections often contain interesting items, and sometimes carry evidence of activities that students thought were private. As you work through these items, you draw on your extensive knowledge of stain identification and treatment, knowledge that takes years to accumulate, passed down from experienced house elves to newcomers, supplemented by personal observation and experimentation. Bloodstains must be treated with cold water immediately. Hot water cooks the proteins, setting the stain permanently. Fresh blood rinses out easily with cold water and gentle soap. Dried blood requires soaking in cold salt water for 30 minutes before washing. Very old bloodstains may be impossible to remove completely, though repeated washings with enzymatic cleaner sometimes succeed where other methods fail. You always treat bloodstains seriously because they may indicate injury requiring medical attention. Ink stains vary by ink type. Modern magical ink responds to ink-dissolving potion. Apply directly, wait 5 minutes, blot gently, then wash normally. Ancient enchanted inks may require specialized counteragents specific to their formulation. Permanent marker, sometimes used by students for labeling belongings, requires rubbing alcohol applied to the stain before washing. Quill ink usually contains iron gall, which responds to citric acid treatment, followed by normal washing. Grass stains are notoriously difficult because chlorophyll binds strongly to fabric fibers. Your method: soak in cold water with enzyme-based stain remover, gently rub the stained area against itself to work the treatment into fibers, soak another 15 minutes, then wash in hot water with extra soap. Even with perfect technique, grass stains often fade rather than disappear completely. Students who play Quidditch regularly accept perpetually greenish practice robes as normal. Chocolate stains require patience. Scrape off excess chocolate first. If you wash it immediately, you'll just spread it deeper into fabric. Soak in cold water. Hot water melts chocolate and drives it into fibers. Apply dish soap directly to the stain. Surprisingly effective for fatty stains like chocolate. Rub gently, rinse, repeat until stain lightens significantly, then wash normally. Multiple treatments are usually necessary. Red wine stains, occasionally appearing on staff clothing after evening gatherings, respond to salt and white wine treatment if caught immediately. Unfortunately, they're rarely caught immediately. Once set, wine stains require soaking in cold water mixed with oxygen-based bleach, followed by normal washing. Dark fabrics hide wine stains better than light fabrics, a fact that might influence tablecloth colour choices if anyone asked your opinion. Mud stains require counterintuitive treatment. Let the mud dry completely before attempting removal. Wet mud spreads and penetrates deeper into fabric. Once dry, brush off as much as possible, then soak in hot water with soap. The heat and agitation gradually dissolve remaining soil particles. Multiple washes are often necessary for heavily muddied items, like Quidditch robes after practice in wet conditions. Potion stains are challenging because hundreds of different potions are taught at Hogwarts, each with unique properties. General approach: identify the potion, if possible, consult your reference manual for specific counteragents, apply treatment, then wash carefully. Unknown potion stains require cautious experimentation. You test treatment on a small hidden area first, ensuring the treatment doesn't make the stain worse before applying it to visible areas. Candle wax requires physical removal rather than chemical treatment. Freeze the garment to make wax brittle, scrape off as much as possible, then place the fabric between absorbent paper and apply a warm, not hot iron. The remaining wax melts and transfers to the paper. Repeat with fresh paper until no more wax transfers. Then wash normally to remove residual oil. This method works for both regular wax and the magical candles used throughout Hogwarts. Grease and oil stains, common from kitchen work and food consumption, respond to dish soap applied directly before washing. The same properties that make dish soap effective on greasy plates make it effective on greasy fabric. Apply soap to the stain, rub gently, let sit for 10 minutes, then wash in hottest water safe for the fabric. For particularly stubborn grease, you might repeat this treatment multiple times before achieving satisfactory results. Mildew stains indicate fabric that stayed damp too long, allowing fungal growth. Treatment requires both stain removal and sterilization. Soak in hot water with oxygen bleach and white vinegar, then wash with extra soap in the hottest water safe for fabric. Sunlight helps too. If weather permits, you dry mildewed items outdoors where UV radiation kills remaining fungal spores. Prevention is easier than cure. Ensure thorough drying and proper ventilation in storage areas. The first item from the afternoon cart is a student robe, Ravenclaw blue, with what appears to be ink stains on the sleeves and strange scorch marks on the hem. The name tag identifies it as belonging to a fifth-year student. Ink stains suggest late-night studying. Ravenclaws are notorious for their study habits, but the scorch marks are curious. They're not from fire exactly, more like magical energy that slightly singed the fabric. You examine the scorch marks more closely, sniffing them. House elves have excellent noses. There's a distinctive smell of transformation magic, acrid and slightly metallic. Someone was practicing transformation spells, probably somewhere they shouldn't have been. The Ravenclaw common room, or perhaps one of the abandoned classrooms on the upper floors where students sneak to practice spells away from professor supervision. The robe goes into a special treatment pile. The ink can be removed with ink-dissolving potion, but the scorch marks will need careful treatment with a fabric restoration spell that you'll apply during the evening shift when you have more time for delicate magical repairs. Next from the cart, a Hufflepuff scarf with what looks like dried tears on it. Water stains form distinctive patterns in fabric, and these are definitely from tears, probably recent, given that the scarf was only collected yesterday. Someone was crying while wearing this scarf, holding it close for comfort. House elves are not counsellors, but this evidence of student distress is quietly noted. If the crying becomes a pattern, if this student's laundry repeatedly shows tear stains, it might warrant a quiet word to the head of Hufflepuff House. Sometimes the first sign of a student in trouble is evidence that only house elves notice. The scarf needs only regular washing. Tears don't stain fabric the way other substances do, but you handle it gently, with extra care, as if the kindness you show the scarf might somehow transfer to its owner, who needed its comfort. A Slytherin tie comes next, with lipstick marks clearly visible on the fabric. This is evidence of romance, or perhaps just an enthusiastic greeting between friends. The lipstick is a distinctive burgundy shade, expensive looking. You make a mental note. Someone in Slytherin House either has a girlfriend who wears burgundy lipstick or attended a party where such kissing occurred. This information is filed away, not for gossip, but as part of the complex map of student relationships that house elves maintain. Understanding these relationships helps house elves serve better. Knowing which students are feuding means being careful about dormitory assignments. Knowing which students are dating means understanding why certain laundry items might be exchanged between houses. The lipstick mark will come out with specialised potion. Lipstick is notoriously difficult to remove from fabric because it's designed to be long-lasting on skin. You apply the potion directly to the stain, let it sit for a few minutes to break down the waxy lipstick base, then gently rub the fabric to work the potion through the fibres. The stain fades significantly, though it will need actual washing to remove completely. More items emerge from the cart, each one telling its small story. Quidditch robes with grass and mud, a particularly intense practice session. Bed sheets with what might be chocolate stains, someone eating forbidden snacks in bed, a prefect badge that's come loose from its robe, wear and tear, or perhaps torn off in an argument, and a set of dress robes with a small tear in the hem, caught on something during a formal occasion. Each item is assessed, categorized, treated if necessary, and added to the appropriate washing pile. This detective work is one of the more interesting aspects of laundry work. You don't judge what you discover. House elves serve without judging, but you do notice and you do understand more about Hogwarts' daily life than most people realise. While working through the cart, you overhear a conversation from the corridor outside the laundry room. The door is slightly ajar, and voices carry in the stone passages. 2 students, male voices, discussing something in urgent whispers. Can't be in the common room when they check. Hide it in the 7th floor corridor, that's what. But if Filch won't look there, I'm telling you. The voices fade as the students move past, and you never learn what it is or why they're hiding it. This is typical. House elves often overhear fragments of conversations without context. Sometimes the fragments are troubling enough to warrant reporting. Other times, like now, they're too vague to act on. You make a mental note anyway. 2 male students, 7th floor, hiding something. If it becomes relevant later, you'll remember. The afternoon proceeds through various tasks. Washing, rinsing, drying, folding, repairing. The fancy damask linens receive their careful hand pressing, a process where you use a specially warmed iron, heated by magic to precise temperature, to smooth out wrinkles and restore the fabric's crisp appearance. Pressing is skilled work, requiring knowledge of proper iron temperature for different fabrics, and the technique of pressing without scorching or creating unwanted creases. Each tablecloth is pressed individually, laid flat on a large pressing table, smoothed carefully, and ironed section by section. The embroidered Hogwarts crest requires particular care. You place a thin pressing cloth over the embroidery to protect it from direct heat, then press gently. The result is beautiful, crisp, smooth fabric, with the crest standing out in perfect detail, ready to grace the formal dining tables tonight. By 4 p.m, the damask linens are complete. You fold them carefully, with tissue paper between layers to prevent creasing, then load them onto a special cart for delivery to the Great Hall. The cart is sent on its way with a command word, and you return to the evening's routine work, satisfied that you've met Dibby's deadline and upheld the laundry's reputation for excellent service. At 5:30 p.m, you take a scheduled break, heading back to the house elves' quarters for a quick meal and a brief rest. The quarters are busier now than they were at dawn. House elves whose shifts end in late afternoon are returning, and those working evening shifts are preparing to start. The common area has several elves sitting at small tables, eating simple meals and discussing their days. Winky, who works in the library, waves you over to her table. "Tibby, how's laundry today?" "Busy but manageable," you reply, sitting down with your own plate of dinner. Shepherd's pie and roasted vegetables, left over from the student lunch, but still delicious. Found some interesting items: scorch marks from transformation practice, lipstick on a Slytherin tie, the usual mysteries. "The library's been wild today," Winky says, shaking her head. "Students everywhere, and half of them not even studying. Found 2 third years trying to research love potions, if you can believe it. Had to quietly redirect them to more appropriate reading." This is typical house elf conversation, sharing the day's observations, comparing notes about student behaviour, maintaining the informal information network that helps keep Hogwarts running smoothly. The conversation is comfortable, between colleagues who understand each other's work, and the meal passes pleasantly. After 20 minutes, you excuse yourself and return to the laundry. Evening work is somewhat different from morning work. Fewer large loads of sorting and washing, more focus on special items, repairs, and preparing for tomorrow. The evening shift is also when house elves handle the items that students drop off for special treatment. Robes needing complex stain removal, damaged items requiring skilled repairs, or anything that needs individual attention. beyond standard washing. Tonight's special items wait in a designated basket near the sorting table. You pull the first item out and immediately notice something odd. It's humming. The Gryffindor robe is literally producing a low humming sound, like someone humming a tune under their breath. You examine the name tag, Finnegan Seamus, 5th year. Seamus Finnegan is known to the laundry staff as someone whose items frequently arrive with unusual magical complications, explosive residue, odd charms gone wrong, and apparently now humming robes. You hold the robe up and listen more carefully. The humming isn't random, it's actually a melody, something that sounds vaguely like opera. This must be the incident mentioned in this morning's castle gossip. Someone had charmed Gryffindor robes to sing opera. Apparently, the charm wasn't completely removed before the robes were sent to laundry. Now you need to remove it before washing, because magical charms often interact unpredictably with washing water and can spread to other items in the same cauldron. You take the robe to a specialised work area set aside for removing magical effects from fabric. The counter here is equipped with various tools: your wand, several bottles of counter-charm potions, a bowl of salt, surprisingly useful for disrupting minor charms, and a reference book titled Common Household Charms and Their Removal, a house elf's guide. You page through the book, looking for singing charms. Here, singing garments, cantorus vestimentum, common prank charm that causes clothing to produce musical sounds. Removal, apply counter charm finite incantatem directly to affected area. For persistent cases, soak in solution of 1 part silence potion to 10 parts water for 15 minutes. You try the counter charm first, pointing your wand at the robe and saying clearly, finite incantatem. The humming wavers, drops in volume, but doesn't completely stop. This is apparently a persistent case. You prepare the silence potion solution in a small basin, mixing the precise proportions, then submerge the robe and set a timer. 15 minutes should break the charm completely. While the robe soaks, you move to the next special item, a set of Hufflepuff bed sheets with what appears to be a permanent cold spot. One corner of the sheet is noticeably colder than the rest, as if there's ice embedded in the fabric, though the sheet is completely dry and shows no physical evidence of anything unusual. Touch it, and your fingers immediately feel the chill. Cold spots in fabric often indicate one of two things. Either a ghost has been sleeping in the bed, ghosts naturally lower the temperature around themselves, or someone has cast a cooling charm that wasn't properly removed. You consult the reference book again. Persistent cold spots may indicate residual cooling charm or ghostly presence. Treatment: for cooling charms, apply warming counterspell. For ghostly influence, wash in warm water with thrice blessed rosemary. You decide to treat this as a cooling charm first, easier to fix, and more likely given that the sheets came from a student dormitory rather than one of the castle's known haunted areas. You lay the sheet flat and cast the warming counterspell on the cold corner. Calor restituere. The cold spot immediately warms, the fabric returning to normal temperature. Problem solved. The timer indicates the singing robe's soaking period is complete. You remove it from the silence potion solution, rinse it in clean water, and test it. No humming, no singing, no sounds at all. The charm has been successfully removed. The robe can now be washed normally with the next batch of Gryffindor items. Next up, a prefect badge that arrived with a note attached. The note, written in the distinctive handwriting you recognise as belonging to Professor McGonagall, reads, "This badge needs reattaching to the accompanying robe. Please ensure secure fastening." The badge and robe are both present, the badge having come completely off its backing pin. This is a job for needle and thread. Magical reattachment might work, but physical sewing is more reliable for items that need to withstand repeated wear. You sit at the mending station with your sewing supplies, various colours of thread, multiple needle sizes, scissors, pins and a thimble. The badge needs to be positioned precisely on the robe's left breast, aligned properly so it sits straight and professional looking. You pin it in position first, checking the alignment from multiple angles, then begin sewing. The technique is simple but requires care. Stitch through the badge's backing holes and through the robe's fabric, creating multiple passes through each hole to ensure security. Use thread that matches the robe's colour so the stitching is minimally visible. Work patiently, ensuring each stitch is tight but not so tight that it puckers the fabric. After 20 minutes of careful work, the badge is securely reattached, looking as if it had never come off. The evening's special items continue. A Slytherin scarf with a potion stain that requires 3 different treatments to remove. A set of dress robes with a torn seam that needs invisible mending, and a Quidditch jersey with a number that's coming loose and needs restitching. Each item receives the attention it needs, the specialised care that separates adequate laundry work from excellent laundry work. As you work, you reflect on the satisfaction of this job. House elves serve, yes, that's their nature and their purpose. But within that service, there's genuine craft and skill. Anyone can throw clothes in water and hope they come clean. But knowing which treatments work for which stains, how to remove magical effects safely, how to mend invisibly and repair durably. These are real skills developed over years of practice. You take pride in your expertise, in being good at this work, in knowing that Hogwarts inhabitants depend on your competence. The evening shift proceeds through its tasks. Outside, dinner is being served in the Great Hall, but the laundry continues its work. The quiet, constant heartbeat that keeps the castle functioning beneath all its more visible activities. At 8 p.m, you begin the evening's delivery rounds, taking clean laundry to various locations throughout the castle. Some deliveries are simple. Leave baskets of clean items in designated locations where they'll be collected. Other deliveries require more care, taking items directly to specific rooms or offices where they're expected. Your first delivery is to the Gryffindor common room, or more precisely, to the small storage closet just outside the portrait hole where house elves leave clean laundry for students to collect. You navigate the castle's corridors with practiced efficiency, knowing which routes are currently occupied by students and which are empty enough for quick passage. The basket you're carrying contains freshly washed and folded Gryffindor robes, several sets of pyjamas, and a selection of personal items that were in today's washing. Each item is properly folded and marked with its owner's name tag, making identification and collection easy. You place the basket on the designated shelf, neatly arranged so everything is accessible, and move on to your next delivery. The Ravenclaw Tower requires climbing many stairs. House elves could snap their fingers and appear instantly via apparition, but house elf magic within the castle is regulated to prevent accidental interference with wards and protections. So you climb, carrying your basket, small legs working steadily up the spiral staircase. The exercise is good, and the rhythm of climbing is almost meditative. Step, 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 pause at a landing, step, step, step. At the Ravenclaw delivery point, you notice that yesterday's basket hasn't been fully emptied. Several items remain uncollected. You make a note. Some Ravenclaw students aren't checking the laundry regularly. This isn't critical, but if items continue to accumulate uncollected, it might indicate students who are too busy or distracted to manage their basic needs. Sometimes, house elves notice such patterns before professors do, and a quiet word to the head of house can help ensure students aren't overwhelmed. The Hufflepuff delivery is next, located near their common room entrance by the kitchens. This delivery point is always fully emptied. Hufflepuffs tend to be conscientious about collecting their clean laundry. Tonight's basket includes several repaired items that were damaged during the week, and you've included small notes explaining what was repaired and how to prevent future damage. Small tear in hem mended, Please avoid catching on door handles. Or button resewn, checked all others for tightness. These notes aren't required, but they're part of the service that house elves take pride in. Not just cleaning clothes, but helping students care for them properly. Most students never read the notes, but some do, and those students learn to be more careful with their belongings. The Slytherin delivery requires descending into the dungeons, where the air is noticeably cooler and damper than in the upper castle. The Slytherin common room entrance is well hidden, but house elves know all the castle's secret places. The delivery point here is a small alcove with a locked cupboard. Slytherins tend to be particular about security, and their laundry storage reflects this. You unlock the cupboard with the master key that all laundry elves carry, place the basket inside, and lock it again. The Slytherin prefects have keys and will distribute items to their housemates. With the house deliveries complete, you move on to staff quarters. The staff laundry is handled somewhat differently. Each staff member has a numbered bin in a central collection room, and house elves deliver clean items to the appropriate bins. The items are always folded and arranged carefully, treating professors' clothing with the same respect they'd want their own belongings treated. Tonight's staff deliveries include Professor McGonagall's formal robes, the ones that will be worn for tomorrow's important meeting, Professor Snape's everyday teaching robes, always black, always impeccably clean, despite constant exposure to potion ingredients, and Professor Flitwick's small-sized clothing, requiring special care in washing to prevent shrinkage that would make already tiny garments unwearable. Each delivery is made with care, items placed neatly in their designated bins, the bins returned to their proper slots. The staff collection room is quiet at this hour. Professors are either at dinner or in their personal quarters, and none are currently collecting laundry. You work alone, which is fine. Some tasks are better done in solitude. The final delivery of the evening is to the hospital wing, where Madame Pomfrey has specific requirements about when and how clean linens are delivered. She prefers evening deliveries, so fresh linens are available for morning bed making. The hospital wing is quiet tonight, only 2 occupied beds, both patients sleeping peacefully. You enter silently, place the basket of clean sheets and pillowcases on the designated shelf, and depart without disturbing anyone. The delivery rounds have taken just over an hour, and you return to the laundry room to find that the evening shift is nearly complete. The last loads are in their final rinse cycles, the drying room is full of items that will be ready for folding in the morning, and the sorting tables are clear. The evening's work is essentially done. You spend the final hour of your shift preparing for tomorrow, restocking supplies that ran low today, making notes about items that need special attention tomorrow, and doing a final check of all equipment to ensure everything is functioning properly. The cauldrons need their fires damped down, but not extinguished. Left at low heat overnight, they'll be easy to bring back to washing temperature in the morning. The drying room's warming charms are checked and adjusted. The supply cupboard is organised, items returned to their proper places. At 9:45 p.m, you complete the shift log, a daily record of work performed. Monday, October 17th, items processed, approximately 450 individual pieces. Special treatments, 12 items. Repairs completed, 8 items. Supplies used, 3 bars soap, 1.5 litres stain remover, various repair materials. Notable incidents: singing robe charm removed, cold spot treated, prefect badge reattached. Tomorrow's priority, Tuesday's regular collection, plus any emergency items. The log will be read by tomorrow's morning shift, ensuring continuity and awareness of ongoing issues. It's the last task of the day, the final note in the daily rhythm of laundry work. You look around the laundry room one more time, checking that everything is in order for the morning shift. The room is warm, slightly humid, smelling of soap and clean fabric. The cauldrons gleam in the lamplight. The sorted baskets wait patiently for tomorrow's attention. Everything is as it should be. Orderly, clean, ready. Your shift is complete. Time to return to the quarters for a late meal and rest before tomorrow, brings another day of laundry work. You extinguish most of the lamps, leaving just enough light for safety, and close the door behind you. Your day's work accomplished. Back in your small quarters, you reflect on the day as you prepare for sleep. 3 years of laundry work have shaped your philosophy about service, purpose, and meaningful work. These thoughts, not typically voiced but deeply felt, inform every action you take. Service is honourable. House elves are sometimes pitied by wizards who project their own values onto elvish nature, imagining that service must mean subjugation. But you've never felt subjugated. You feel purposeful, useful, valued through your work, even when not explicitly thanked. Service isn't about hierarchy, it's about contribution, about making others' lives better through your efforts. Excellence matters in every task, regardless of whether anyone notices. You could perform laundry work adequately with half the effort you invest. Clothes would come clean enough, most students wouldn't notice the difference. But you'd know. The satisfaction comes not from external praise, but from internal standards met. Doing work excellently is its own reward, independent of recognition. Small actions accumulate into significant impact. Every clean robe, every matched sock, every repaired garment is individually minor. But collectively, over days and months and years, they represent thousands of small contributions to thousands of people's daily comfort and dignity. You've washed clothes for students who've graduated and become influential wizards. Your invisible work was part of their foundation, a small but real contribution to their success. Tradition connects you to past and future. The techniques you use were developed over centuries by countless house elves who faced similar challenges. The improvements you make will benefit future laundry elves who'll carry on this work after you're gone. You're not isolated in time, but rather a link in an ongoing chain of service and excellence. Simplicity has dignity. The work isn't glamorous or exciting, and you're fine with that. Glamour and excitement often distract from substance. Simple, necessary work performed consistently well has its own beauty, its own worthiness. Not everything needs to be dramatic to matter. The rhythms of your work structure your life. Daily rhythms, weekly rhythms, seasonal rhythms, and the longer rhythm of professional development that spans years. Monday's recovery from weekend, Tuesday's steady productivity, Wednesday's midweek plateau, Thursday's anticipation of Friday, Friday's completion and preparation, Saturday's lighter load and special attention to details, Sunday's staff laundry and week transition tasks. Each day has character, each day requires slightly different approach. The seasonal rhythm operates at longer timescale. Autumn's mud and Quidditch laundry, winter's wet items and extra drying time, spring's deep cleaning of every textile in the castle, summer's maintenance work and training of new elves. Each season brings challenges and opportunities, requiring you to adjust methods and priorities. These nested rhythms, days within weeks, within seasons, within years, create a temporal structure that's both stable and progressive. You're simultaneously grounded in present routine and progressing toward future mastery. This combination of stability and growth provides ideal conditions for sustained contentment. Tomorrow will bring new laundry, new challenges, new opportunities to demonstrate competence. This anticipation feels good, evidence that you're engaged with your work rather than merely enduring it. Tomorrow morning, you'll wake at 4:47 a.m. as usual, perhaps 3 minutes early as your internal clock remains precise. You'll wrap yourself in your tea towel uniform, descend those 37 steps, push open the heavy wooden door, and enter the laundry room that's become almost like home. As sleep approaches, you think about your journey to this point. Your first day in the laundry was overwhelming. Everything seemed too big, too complex, too fast. Tibsy, the elf training you, moved with practiced efficiency that seemed impossible to match. You burned your fingers on a cauldron rim, knocked over a basket of sorted socks, requiring resorting, and accidentally put red robes in with white sheets, creating an entire load of pale pink linens that required special treatment. By day's end, you were exhausted and discouraged. But Tibsy was kind. She told you about her own first day, 40 years earlier, and the disasters she'd caused then. She told you that laundry work takes time to learn, that mistakes are how you develop judgment, that no one expects perfection from a beginner. She showed you her own journal of challenging stains and difficult items, evidence that even experts continued learning throughout their careers. That conversation changed everything. Your first solo shift came after 3 months of training. Tibsy had a rare day off, and you were left alone in the laundry for the first time. The responsibility felt enormous. What if something went wrong? What if you ruined someone's robes? What if fires got out of control or cauldrons boiled over? But nothing went wrong. You processed 4 loads successfully, mended 3 items, and even handled an unusual stain, dragon ash, without needing help. When Tibsy returned the next day and reviewed your work, she declared you officially competent. Pride swelled in your chest, not vanity, but legitimate satisfaction in achievement. 6 months in, you broke your personal record for sock sorting, 847 pairs in a single shift. The previous record, held by an elf named Mopsy, had stood for 12 years at 831 pairs. Beating it required perfect efficiency. No wasted motions, no breaks, complete focus for 8 straight hours. Your hands ached for days afterward, but the record was yours. Other laundry elves congratulated you. Your name went in the logbook. For house elves, such achievements matter. 1 year in, you successfully handled your first genuine laundry crisis. A student accidentally put dragon scales in their pocket before sending robes to laundry, and the scales, exposed to hot water and soap, began releasing toxic fumes. You recognized the problem immediately from descriptions in your journal, evacuated the laundry room, neutralized the scales with the appropriate potion, and aired out the room before resuming work. Professor McGonagall personally thanked you for preventing what could have been a serious accident. That recognition meant more than you can easily express. 2 years in, you trained your first new house elf, passing on what Tibsy taught you, plus what you'd learned through your own experience, helping someone else navigate their first clumsy weeks in the laundry. Teaching crystallized your own understanding. Explaining why you do things a certain way forced you to examine and articulate principles you'd internalized without fully realizing. Your student, Winky, now works competently in the laundry, and knowing you contributed to her success provides deep satisfaction. Now, 3 years in, you're recognized as an expert. Other house elves consult you about difficult stains. You train newcomers. You contribute to improving laundry procedures. The journey from overwhelmed beginner to confident expert has been gradual but real, each day building skills and knowledge that compound into genuine expertise. You're part of a larger community of house elves who maintain Hogwarts. The kitchen elves are the largest group, over 20 of them working rotating shifts to provide 3 meals daily, plus snacks and special events. The cleaning elves maintain the castle's public spaces, working mostly at night when students are sleeping. The personal attendants serve individual professors, managing their quarters and attending to private needs. Then there are specialists, the elf who manages the owlery, the grounds elves who maintain gardens, the library elf who reshelves books. You fit into this community as a laundry specialist. Your work intersects with everyone's. You process items from all parts of the castle, interact with all departments. This gives you a unique perspective, seeing patterns that others might miss. The shared purpose of serving Hogwarts well unites you despite individual differences. The tools of your trade are simple but essential. The stirring paddle is carefully shaped, its blade curved to follow the cauldron's contour. The measuring cups are copper because copper doesn't break when dropped, won't react with laundry chemicals, and provides accurate measurements even after years of use. The darning egg is smooth hardwood, polished from decades of use. The wringer is mechanical rather than magical, ensuring it works consistently regardless of magical interference. Each tool has been refined over generations of use, perfected through experience. Using them connects you to the long tradition of house elf launderers who came before, all solving the same basic problems: how to clean clothes effectively, how to remove stains, how to repair damage, how to maintain standards day after day. Sometimes you discover secrets through laundry work, evidence of student activities they didn't intend to share. You've discovered romantic relationships through matching stains, identified a werewolf condition through bloodstains corresponding to full moons, found evidence of bullying through repeated damage to someone's belongings. With such knowledge comes responsibility to protect privacy, to report genuine problems while ignoring harmless secrets, to use information ethically. Now, in your small quarters, you change into your sleeping tea towel. The room is quiet, lit by a single small magical light. The bed welcomes you with familiar comfort. Blankets you've washed yourself, knowing they're clean and fresh. A pillow filled with lavender that releases its calming scent as you settle in. The week's work plays through your memory in soft, blurred images, cauldrons steaming, clothes folding, stains fading under patient treatment, the endless rhythm of sort and wash and dry. Each load was a small task completed, each day a series of tasks that added up to meaningful service. Sleep begins to pull you down, gentle and insistent. Let the weight of the day's work settle over you like a comfortable blanket. Let the memory of clean clothes and satisfied customers carry you into rest. Let the knowledge of tomorrow's work waiting give you purpose to wake for. But for now, release all thought of tomorrow. Tomorrow will bring new laundry, new challenges, new opportunities to serve. But tonight is for rest. Tomorrow morning, you'll wake naturally to the rhythm of service. Your internal sense of duty more reliable than any alarm. You'll descend those 37 steps again, push open the heavy wooden door, and enter the warm, soap-scented world of the laundry room. The fires will crackle beneath the cauldrons again. The sorting will begin anew. The endless cycle of clean and dirty, dirty and clean will continue. You'll measure soap with copper cups, stir with clockwise motions, rinse twice for thoroughness. Wring carefully but completely. Hang items to preserve their shape. Fold with precision and deliver with care. Each task performed excellently, each standard maintained, each small contribution to the castle's functioning rendered faithfully. This is your work, your craft, your service, and it is good. The lavender scent grows stronger as your breathing slows and deepens. Your small body relaxes completely, tension leaving muscles that worked hard through the day. The darkness behind your closed eyes is soft and welcoming, free of worry or urgency. Just rest now, deep and restorative rest. May your dreams be as warm as the drying room, as clean as fresh-washed linens, as orderly as perfectly sorted socks. May you rest deeply and wake refreshed, ready for another day of work that matters, work that contributes, work that makes countless lives easier and more comfortable through invisible care and sustained excellence. The castle sleeps around you, its students resting in beds with clean sheets, its staff comfortable in clean clothes, everyone benefiting from work done well by hands that never seek recognition but deserve it nonetheless. This is the hidden magic of Hogwarts. Not just the spells and potions and fantastic creatures, but the quiet service that keeps everything functioning. The invisible care that makes the spectacular possible. Good night, Tibby. Good night, faithful laundry elf. Good night, skilled servant of Hogwarts' daily needs. Sleep well in the knowledge that your work matters, that your skills are valuable, that your service makes the castle function smoothly and its inhabitants comfortable. Rest now and dream peacefully. Tomorrow will come with its own rhythms and tasks, but tonight belongs to sleep. Let the gentle darkness carry you deeper, where worry dissolves and tension releases, where the day's work fades into peaceful nothing. The work is complete, your service rendered, your duties fulfilled, sleep is your reward, and you've earned it fully. Good night.